Hello and welcome back to the channel. Football is life. How's everyone doing? Hope you're all right. I've just come in straight on after the Bayern versus PSG second leg, where PSG have, I suppose, frustrated Bayern. Bayern's chance at home to get through to the final, not to be. PSG, I thought, played it perfectly. Bayern weren't at their best, particularly in the first half an hour, but PSG, great pressing, work rate, the two centre-backs, quality on the night. And yeah, through to another final, their third in a row, where they will face Arsenal. The British podcast lives on. Arsenal getting through against Atletico Madrid on Tuesday night, which was, wonderful to see. Some have said the celebrations are maybe a little bit too much too soon, because obviously they're going to be the underdogs in the final. But you just never know. I think, as brilliant as PSG are, I knew they were good. After the first leg, didn't think they were that good, when they went 5-2 up with that blistering attacking players that they've got. But they are, the real deal, through to another final. You never know, though, in a one-off game in the final, that Arsenal might just do it on the night in Budapest. If you can be strong defensively, like Arsenal are, and well-balanced, they could shut PSG out, and then win it when they get their chances and set pieces going forward. So, it's really hard final to call. It's just amazing that, Arsenal have got there. We've got English football interest in the final, but they will be playing the very, very best. I mean, Bayern Munich are a great side, unbelievable balanced side with attacking flair, defensive quality. And, they have just not had enough to put PSG through. Elise was quiet tonight, I thought, for Bayern, and Diaz had moments, but just, they never really got it going. And at home, where, they've not failed to score all season. They've scored 120 odd goals, but PSG pretty much went there and shut up shop. So, they can do that against Arsenal and then be terrorising up front and too much from on the night. But it's going to be some final, really hard to call. Let us know who you think is going to win this Champions League final, Arsenal or PSG. Comment below, like and subscribe as well. Come on, it's free to do at the same time. But yeah, a really, really good Champions League campaign. We've got all the way through. I've been saying for months, I didn't think anyone would beat Arsenal over two legs in this competition, and so it's proven. They've got through to the final, but the hardest test obviously is now to come. But neutral venue, one-off night, anything's possible, and I wouldn't rule Arsenal out. So we'll see. But yeah, really love the two games, the Bayern PSG games. Brilliant elite level football. And it's just, Arsenal, if they win this final, definite classification of being an elite side, because they will have to beat the very, very best and the most elite team in Europe over the last few years to win this competition. So, hey, here we go. We'll look forward to it. We'll keep talking about it in the build-up to the game, but that's going to be such an interesting final. Can the Gunners do it against PSG? Let us know your thoughts. And then just a quick roundup now of the Premier League. The big, Man City slipping up at Everton. Does that now confirm Arsenal as the champs? Are they going to be the champions? This is the year that they've got to win it, I think, because City are coming. They've really got to win it this season. They've just shown again, City, the other night, that they can and are capable of a little slip up here and there. So, they've handed it over to Arsenal again now, back in pole position. Does it mean now Arsenal are favourites and they'll see it through with 3 games to go? City have got a couple of tough games, a couple of tough away games, and you have to put Arsenal in pole position. And I mean, what a season it could be again for Arsenal. I mean, it looked a couple of weeks back like they were going to lose everything. Maybe not getting to a Champions League final, maybe losing the league. It's turned around again. And if you're Arsenal now, you've got to be confident that this could be an unbelievable season. Come the end of May, they could be Champions League, European champions, winners of the Premier League, and do a truly incredible double. So it's all to come. We'll find out in the weeks ahead. But does that Man City slip up the other night mean Arsenal have now got it and it's too much for City to come back? you know, I would back Arsenal. I think as much as I would back Arsenal, I think it's the year that they've got to win it. It's the biggest chance they've had in years to win it, finally get over the line. City keep slipping up again and handing it back to Arsenal. And now you've just got to win your last 3 games. Go and do it with the newfound confidence of a Champions League final and get in the pole position again in the league. Go and see it through. We switch across now to the other side of North London. And could Tottenham Hotspur do it? Could they survive? Let me know, all right, in the comments. They've had a great result on the weekend, winning away from home at Villa, you know, and West Ham getting beaten away. This really now is crunch time. You know, Tottenham have got some fixtures where they can get results. We'll be looking at them in a minute. And obviously West Ham have got to play Arsenal this weekend. So, you know, it's a big weekend. But can Tottenham do it? You know, we all thought Tottenham were going down dead and buried. De Zerbi comes in, finally gets that win. And, you know, there's life there again. I really think it's between Forest now and West Ham. West Ham and Spurs. Forest looks safe. You know, what a great win at Chelsea. You know, for me, they only need 1 more point, and I think that's going to be enough. So yeah, there we go. Who's going to stay up out of these teams? Is it going to be West Ham? Is it going to be Spurs? I give Spurs a bit of fight now. They're going to have a bit of belief. West Ham are really going to have to win some games now to stay up come the end of the season. So yeah, all interesting. Business end. It's what we love. But yeah, very, very interesting. So hard to call these situations of who's going up, who's going down, who's winning leagues, who's winning finals. You know, really tough calls. But that's what we love. That's why we all have an opinion of football, whether right or wrong. There we go. We'll wait and see on that one. Quickly as well, before we go into the games for the weekend, the upcoming games, and look at that, because there's some brilliant games. We've got Premier League. The playoffs have started, you know, with teams just missing out and teams getting in. Those fixtures coming thick and fast. So lots to look forward to still as we go to the end of the season and into the World Cup. But one club I really want to talk about, and it's just an absolute mess, is Chelsea. What is going on at Chelsea? They just look like a total lack of vision, knowing what they're doing. You know, managers on long contracts getting sacked, players on long contracts. I mean, the body language just looks so poor against Forest. They are in absolute turmoil. They are a club in crisis. They need a massive shake-up from head to tail. A new manager in the summer could obviously reignite it all, but I think the problems just lay much deeper than that. Whoever takes over at Chelsea, it's just got such a hard job to go through that squad and get the very best out of them with kind of no upset, ill turn. You know, the crowd just even looked like, you know, we're coming to just such a sad end to the season and just going backwards and backwards. So Chelsea is a real club. You know, we could talk about Chelsea for hours, and I could go on for hours, but they've got to get it sorted, this summer and get some real direction in that club, or, you know, they're in danger of really falling back mid-table or lower, or, you know, could they even do a Spurs where they've a couple of bad years, you know, and really kind of drop off that top? They've got to appoint a top-level manager, and they've got to get it right this summer. It is crucial for Chelsea, because if it carries on, your top players are going to want to leave. You'll be starting again from scratch. You know, there's transfer embargoes there. So it's, you know, could be a tough time ahead. So crucial summer for Chelsea. Let us know your thoughts. Can Chelsea turn this crisis around and get back to the glory days? But it all stems from a top-level manager. I think they need to get somebody that's just going to take that club by the scruff of the neck, you know, go to the board and say it's not acceptable. You know, they need a real top figure, almost like even maybe like a Jose Mourinho, someone that's going to come in and just completely control the football club, I think is what they need. So don't get anyone inexperienced, go for top level and just try and get it back. Okay, we go on to the games. So starting tomorrow, I'm recording this on Wednesday night. So we've got Thursday. Okay, we've got games Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday and Monday. Big games to look forward to. I'm going to try and whip through these as quick as I can. Be quite explicit with the scores. And then if I've got any opinions, I'll cast an opinion of it, of course. But we'll look at all sorts, Premier League and the playoffs. And obviously Europa. So we start with Europa on Thursday night. Second leg, the all-English tie. Forest taking a 1-0 lead to Villa Park, at Villa Park. Villa, not in the best of form, losing games in the Premier League, 1-0 down in this competition, and Forest getting results. Obviously, Morgan Gibbs-White, horror injury, doesn't look like he's going to play. You know, is he going to be a massive loss at Villa Park? I don't want to predict actually who I think is going to qualify. I just think that Villa at home on the night, despite all the odds of Forest playing well, a bit different in Europe. I just think the Villa Park crowd can see them home, get that lead, and I think they could win it 1-0 on the night, and then extra time, possibly penalties. But I do think Villa are going to win this game on the night. Whether they can get the 2 turnover and get the 2 to overturn the aggregate from leg 1, I'm not sure, but I do think Villa will just edge it on the night, and that's going to be some game if we go to extra time and penalties there. An all-English tie is brilliant, and we're going to have an English team in the final, so, you know, class. But, yeah, let's see. But Villa 1, Forest 0 over 90 minutes, I think, on the night. And then Crystal Palace, what a result away at Shakhtar, 3-1 up. You know, what a really tough place to go over the years Shakhtar's been. So great result for Palace over there, and I think they'll just see it through at home. And what a job Glasner's doing, even after he's said, you know, I'm leaving, to steer this squad of players like really well in the Premier League and then to a European final is really just proven how decent he is. Could a Glasner go to a Chelsea? Who knows? He's obviously going, but you know, he wouldn't be a bad appointment, would he, for Chelsea in this state? So I think Palace safely through, 1-0 on the night at home and through to a European final. Unbelievable for the Eagles. And then Friday night playoffs. So the playoffs start in the Championship 2 this weekend. We have Hull versus Millwall at Friday night at Hull. Hull obviously just edging in with that final day win at home last weekend into the playoffs, just edging Wrexham out, and that Wrexham don't do the bounce from the conference all the way to the Premier League, which would obviously been, despite all the money they've spent, you know, miraculous kind of, but come up a little bit short. Hull getting in there. Millwall, I think you've got to back Millwall as favourites. Just their league campaign, unbelievable. You know, many more points than Hull. And, you know, you wouldn't discount Hull at home, but I think Millwall over the 2 legs. I do fancy Millwall to get to Wembley and have a shot at the Premier League. So I'm going to go Hull 1, Millwall 1, and Millwall with the advantage going into the second leg. And then we flip to Saturday, back to the Premier League. We have a few games on actually Saturday in the Premier League, starting with Liverpool at home to crisis club Chelsea. A routine win at home. It's not going to get any easier for Chelsea. I'm going to go Liverpool 3, Chelsea 0 at Anfield. Brighton v Wolves, a bit of obviously a dead rubber for Wolves, obviously a long time down now. And Brighton just safe at home, I think, in this one. You know, decent club. Hertzler looking like he's signed a new contract to stay longer at the club. They've been in a good place. Good second half of the season with Brighton. And just a solid team, solid recruitment, a really settled club. You know, Chelsea could learn a lot from Brighton. And Brighton 2, Wolves 1 on this one. Fulham v Bournemouth. Bournemouth, I love Bournemouth. I just think quality, another top manager that's obviously moving on. And I see them getting a result at Fulham. Fulham have, you know, been decent enough at home, but they've looked like they've struggled a little bit in games, to be fair, when I've seen them, and not really the full kind of article. And I think Bournemouth can get something at Craven Cottage. So I'll go for Fulham 1, Bournemouth 2. And my tip there is Junior Krupe again to score. He's obviously, clubs are after him, the top clubs are after him. Rumours of Liverpool, you know, Chelsea, Man United, they're all kind of Man City up there. You know, they've all been kind of linked with this lad, and he is a top draw player, and he's definitely moving this summer. So can he sign his Bournemouth career off with a few more goals before the end of it all? And then Sunderland v Manchester United. Manchester United, surely Michael Carrick is getting the job. What's really interesting is all the players are coming out saying, give him the job. I've been impressed by him. Almost like a worry factor maybe that he won't get it, but surely the Man United board have to give him, you know, a 2, 3, 4 year contract. He's deserved it. And I fancy Man United to go to the Stadium of Light and get a result there. 2-0 to the Red Devils. And then Man City v Brentford. Here we go. Title on the line. Title could be over this weekend if City lose and Arsenal win. That will be that. I can't see it. Even as good as Brentford are, and I think they will make City work for this. City will just edge it, I think, take it to another week. City 2, Brentford 1. And then back to the playoffs Saturday. Middlesbrough versus Southampton, and this for me is a massively difficult tie to call over two legs. Home form could sway it. I think Southampton have been in better form. If you look at like the last 20 games of the league season, Southampton were on a flyer coming up through the division, and Middlesbrough obviously dropped down from what looked at one stage like automatic promotion. And I think that kind of momentum's kind of a big shift in football, where Borough would be a bit more disappointed that they're in the playoffs, whereas one stage they looked like they could be in the top two. Southampton kind of rising up, good cup run, decent, and I think they'll get something at Middlesbrough and finish them off at home, and also meet Millwall at Wembley in the final. So I'm going to go just for a draw with this one, and then maybe Southampton to finish them off at home. So Middlesbrough 2, Southampton 2, but I think there'll be goals in this tie over the two legs. And then on Sunday, Burnley v Villa. Villa, obviously massive game Thursday night, and I think that will dictate a lot of what happens Sunday. Either, players, recovery, do they get through to the final with confidence, things like that. So a very hard game to call. But Burnley, let's face it, have just not done anything in the Premier League this year. They've really kind of just gone out with a whimper. I know Burnley fans are upset with Scott Parker and just the effort that they've made this year, and that they've not made the most of getting up to the Prem. So, the sensible money would have to be on Burnley 0, Villa 2, and just a routine away win there. And Crystal Palace v Everton. I think Crystal Palace and Everton have both had really decent seasons. Crystal Palace have got a massive opportunity in Europe to seal what's been an amazing kind of season. And Everton obviously looking like the other night against Man City, I thought they just looked so well drilled. Really, really good. Great away record. And I just think they'll keep it going. I think Palace, the Thursday night game in Europe would be, just a high emotion. And I think then Everton could just catch them cold on Sunday and win 1-0 at Selhurst. But Crystal Palace won't be too worried if they get to a European final. And then Nottingham Forest v Newcastle, again, same sort of situation. Really tough game to follow up a big European night. Obviously, tomorrow night will dictate the mood of the Forest camp. I think if they do go out, they'll be desperately gutted, holding a 1-0 lead. So a lot could happen on that game. And then Newcastle are difficult opponents. And I think Forest, they probably know they only need a point. They'd be happy with a point. And I think they'll get that point at home to Newcastle, 1-1. But that could change based on tomorrow night's cup tie. And the big one, I suppose, Super Sunday, West Ham versus Arsenal. Arsenal might have a real feel-good factor here. Champions League final. If Man City fail to beat Brentford, it's all but, a party if they win this at West Ham. So I can't see anything but an Arsenal win. Whether West Ham are fighting for this or not, I don't think this is where they're going to get the points to send Tottenham down. So it will give Tottenham a bit of a spur on Monday night, but I think it'll be West Ham 0, Arsenal 2, professional performance, and the Gunners one step closer to the league, if not already achieved by Sunday night, all but if Man City slip up anywhere again. So that goes on to Monday night to finish this episode. I felt like there's 100 games I've had to go through, but there's so many games coming up. It's incredible. And big games that are deciding things. And no more than Tottenham versus Leeds on Monday night. Tottenham must be feeling confident. Leeds basically safe. So Tottenham to produce a big night at home on Monday night to really up the pressure. And it could be the title of this episode, Tottenham's comeback. But Tottenham 3, Leeds 1, and can Spurs fight off relegation? All right, lovely being back on. Make sure you comment, like, subscribe, come on back to the channel. If you're watching the football this week or playing, enjoy it. All right, stay safe, be good, everyone. Bye.